Alright, in the second part of solving annuity problems using BA2 plus financial calculator, we'll see how to solve for problems that involves different compounding frequencies and also monthly payments. So let's see what you have here. Some ABC company will buy a new machine that will generate a monthly revenue of $2,000. So we'll have a monthly cash inflow of $2,000 for 4 years. And the interest rate for this project is 22%. This 22% is annual interest rate, but it will be compounded monthly. Now, what should be the price of this machine? The price should be the present value of all the cash flows that will be generated by this machine. So this is our timeline of cash flows. This is the present moment. This is after 1 year and all the way to year 4. And in each year, we'll have 12 payments of $2,000. And the question doesn't specify if these payments will be made at the beginning of the month or at the end of each month. Let's assume that it will be made at the end of each month. So then it will be an ordinary annuity. Then you also need to know what is the P by Y and C by Y of this project. P by Y stands for the payments per year and C by Y stands for the number of compounding per year. In our case, P by Y is 12 because you will receive 12 payments, monthly payments each year. And C by Y is also 12 because it is monthly compounding. Alright, when you have a situation where P by Y and C by Y is 12, you don't need to change any settings. You just do the solution as you have done in the previous video. Just make some modification to n and I by y. This n will be 4 multiplied by P by y. So 4 multiplied by 12, that is 48. So put 48 in n. And I by y, we need to find out the monthly interest rate. So this will be 22%. So 22 divided by C by y. That is 22 divided by 12. And that is 1.83. So put 1.83 here. Let's clear this. Alright, now payment is $2,000 and there is no mention of any future value, so put 0 here. And now to solve for present value, press compute, then press PV. Alright, now let's give these inputs to the calculator and calculate the present value. Alright, so let's put 48 in n, then put 1.83 as our interest rate, then put 2000 as our payment, then press 0 and then press FV to set the future value to 0, and finally press compute, then press PV to calculate the present value of this annuity. So the result is now, as you can see, there is a negative sign. It makes sense because this is our price, right? You'll pay this price to get the machine. So from your perspective, it's a cash outflow. Alright, then let's change this problem a little bit. Let's say instead of ordinary annuity, it was annuity due. So the payments were made at the beginning of each month. So here, then how would you solve this problem? Well, to do this, first press this second button, then press this payment button, and from this menu change it to beginning. Now your calculator is set to work with annuity due. Then again press second and then press compute to quit the menu, and then press compute, then press PV to get the result. So if it were an annuity due, the result is this. Now let's change the settings again to work with ordinary annuity. Now one more thing, what if the machine has some residual value? Let's say you can sell this machine for $10,000 at the end of 4 years. So there would be another cash flow of 10K at the end of 4 years. In that case, everything else would remain same. You just change this FV from 0 to 10,000. So this should be 10,000. So put 10,000 into future value, then press compute and then press PV. Now the result is 67711. Alright, Y and C by Y was equal. Both of them were set to 12. But what if P by Y were 4? Therefore, you get quarterly payment, but C by Y was 12. In that case, you can solve this problem the way we have done it for the last one. How to do that? We'll see how to do that in the next problem. Alright, so I have changed the problem a little bit. Instead of monthly compounding, we have to deal with quarterly compounding now. So the PYY is still 12 because we get monthly payments, and C by Y is now 4. So when P by Y and C by Y isn't equal, you need to change the default P by Y and C by Y value of your calculator. Currently in my calculator it is set to 1. The new value of P by Y of the calculator should be 12, and the value of C by Y should be 4. And so let's see how to do that. Before we do that, let's first see what are the default values of P by Y and C by Y currently set to my calculator. To access those, press second and then press this I by Y button, and as you can see, the P by Y's default value is set to 1 now. If you scroll down, you'll see the value of C by Y. Now let's get back to P by Y and change it to 12. So press 12, then press enter, and then change the value of C by Y. Now anytime you change the value of P by Y, the value of C by Y also gets changed and set to the value of P by Y. So therefore C by Y is also showing 12 here. Let's change this. Press 4 and press enter. Now C by Y is 4 and P by Y is 12, just what we need. Then exit this menu. Then let's put the other values, values of N, I by Y, payment and future value. Let's start with the easy ones, like future value is 0, payment is again 2000. What should be the values of I by Y and N by Y? The value of I by Y would be 22% directly. You don't need to convert it to any other thing, because your calculator now knows that there are 4 compounding in a year. So put the yearly compounding here. So you may think that since your calculator also knows that the payment is made 12 times per year, so you just need to input 4 here, but unfortunately that is not the case. In periods, you need to provide the number of months that actually you'll get payments for. So you'll put 4 multiplied by 12, that is 48 in N. So this was confusing for me when I first learned this, because if my calculator knows both that my payment per year is 12 and my compounding per year is also 4, then why do I need to put this value in months again? But that's how this calculator works. So put these values. So 48 into N, then 22 into I by Y, then 2000 into payment, then 0 in future value, and finally compute, and then PV. The result is 63910. Alright, to sum it up, when we have different compounding periods and different payments per year, then you need to change the values of your default P by Y and C by Y, and then directly put the annual interest rate in I by Y, but in number of periods you need to multiply years with P by Y. Alright, that's all for this video. In the next video we'll see how to calculate NPV and IRR of projects. So see you in the next one.